All right, guys, we are back for a little repair on the TDI swap Toyota. If you haven't seen before, I kept the IFS on this swap. It's a little bit of a pain, but it works. So today lately I've been having a problem with this truck. That flange right there that the CV axle bolts to will slide out of this tube for the diff. And I didn't notice it until I fixed the boost pipes so they wouldn't blow. I just kind of half-assed made them for when I first got the truck running. So I wasn't getting on it a whole lot, wasn't building a lot of boost. But once I fixed the pipe, first time I really got on it, got back to the house, I noticed something wasn't right. Noise was rattling. Something was rattling around making a noise. It got under, and I found that flange had popped out of the tube on the axle housing. Noticed the inner boot on the CV axle was torn, so I'm figuring, talking with some other friends and doing some research and stuff, it kind of seems like the axle itself is bound up in one of the joints, and it's actually pulling that flange out when the suspension moves. So I got a new axle today and we are going to put it in, so stick around. And now that we got the tire off, pull these bolts off, get the locking hub off, these nuts and the cone washers, you can pull that off, I believe, and then should just be a snap ring back there on the axle. And then we're gonna have to pull the ball joint off to be able to separate these. Might have to have the right size. That cone washer came out no problem, so hopefully all of them come out like that. But they never do. Normally just a little tappy tap and it come right out. go. Oh, looks like a snap ring right there, and that should be the only thing that has to come off from here. You can undo the bolt at the flange for the axle, and then the ball joint bolts, so the knuckle will separate from the upper control arm, and then axle should come out fairly easy. Never done it before, so we're both learning. Okay, I got the snap ring off. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but I guess it's not that terrible. Pulling the nuts off of the flange. Okay, so now the axle is free from the diff. I'm gonna pull the ball joint off. Oh, well, if I have the right socket. I have a 2-inch ball joint spacer on this, so I don't have to turn up the torsion bars to get a little bit of a lift. Ball joint spacers probably aren't the best thing. I haven't had a problem with them. But this truck doesn't see a whole lot of road use. I mean, it does occasionally, but it's mainly a hunt truck. So I'm not too worried about it. Okay, so undo the shock, undo sway bar, and link. Now the axle or the knuckle is down far enough. It popped out underneath the flange. It should come out. Might need to actually remove a hole. sway bar end link. To get the axle by it. There you go. Axle is out. All right, so I pulled the shock all the way out. See if I can get it at that angle without pulling the sway bar end link, because shock's a little bit easier to pull out, and because I pulled that flange or inner axle, whatever you want to call it, all the way out just so I could check it. Because like I was saying before, the reason why I'm doing this is because that inner axle flange, it was popping out, and it was, at one point it came like all the way out, the bearing was out, everything, and it was rattling really bad. So the other times it's just popped out half an inch or so, hasn't come all the way out. Might just hammer it back in. So I feel like the joint, like I was saying, the joint in the old axle is bad, not extending all the way, like it's bound up, and pulling that axle, the inner axle, out. So that's why I'm putting new axle in. So might not have to do anything with the sway bar end links. We'll find out here in a minute. It's easier to pull the shock than deal with the end link and the sway bar, unless you do the other side and pull it all off. But we're gonna see if we can get the new shaft back in without with just pulling the shock out. So let's give this a shot. There we go. So I'm gonna leave it unhooked from the inner axle for now until I get the ball joints and everything back up in place. Which might be a pain. Maybe I do need to hook that up now. I'll at least put a couple nuts on there to hold it in place. Flopping around. And you probably see zip tie still holding that back cover on. This cover. I'll cut that off here before I tighten those nuts down. I just wanted to make sure that cover didn't fall off. So now we can try to get this back up. That's probably an easier way. And if you need to, now would probably be the right time to change ball joints. I'm not going to. Yes, that one looks like it's blown out again, but I don't really care, to be honest. I replaced them when I did this ball joint lift, ball joint spacer. I did it then. Probably 2 years ago now, but probably only, I don't know, maybe 10,000 miles. So I'm not worried about it. And like I said, it's just basically a hunting rig. Be driving to and from hunting spots and logging roads. So, I mean, like I said, it will see some street driving, but not a lot. Run those down real quick. Gotta find the right socket. Had it around here somewhere. Those are in. I will go ahead and put the shock back in. Best if you have the right tool for the right job, but I don't want to get up. There's that. shaft isn't quite pointing out far enough to get the snap ring on. I can see the ring, just not far enough to put the ring on. Especially if I have to put a washer on first. So, I wonder what is causing that to hang up. Figure it out, and I'll get back to you. There, snap ring's on. Just had to pry on it a little bit, but it's on. Oh, it is hot. Got to go on one way. Idiot. Okay. Moving right along. Really not that bad of a job, honestly. Like I said, I've never done this before. Worked on quite a few of these trucks, so I have a fairly good understanding of these. So, but this is my first time doing CV axle replacement on one of these. So, yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Doesn't seem like you have to do anything with the sway bar end link. I did, because I thought that's what was hanging me up. I wasn't sure if the shock was going to give me enough room, but it did. So if I were you, pull the shock instead of sway bar end link. This stuff's pretty self-explanatory. Like I showed you pulling apart, pull that bolt out, these nuts, that snap ring on the back side. Pull the ball joint off of the control arm so you have swing with the knuckle. And then the 6 bolts on that hold the CV axle to the inner axle shaft and finagle it out. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna wrap this thing up and go give it a test drive. If you guys like these kind of instructional how-to videos, let me know, and see if I can do some more on my own vehicles or customer vehicles or whatever. So yeah, let me know in the comments. Thanks.